tell you about my guest, Kimberly DeBrat, award-winning national security and border security investigative reporter for TV, radio, and print media. And she's covered the news with an outside-the-beltway perspective. Her experience as an investigative journalist ranges from national security issues like Gitmos, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed 9/11 trial, immigration, foreign policies. She's a TV correspondent, CW News 6 San Diego, and One America News Network. And when she's here, she streams live, most usually, at periscope.com. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm doing fine, Chuck. I'm actually live streaming on YouTube today as well. I'm trying a new format to see if I can do both at the same time. So more viewers can either watch me on Twitter, Periscope, or YouTube.
Wow. YouTube, Twitter, Periscope. You know, it's like chewing gum and playing golf at the same time, right?
Yeah, yeah, something like that.
Okay. Hey, I got to tell you, I can't mess around too much here because you have a very in-depth report. But I just want to start out, boy, with fake news running crazy, and all of the, you know, the other side, the Trump haters, the way they're going crazy. I was watching out numbers today, and normally they don't have a guy, you know, that would just get on there and really go crazy, but he's making these statements about, you know, he's not doing that well. You know, in fact, right now he's got the lowest ratings of any president in the history of the United States. You know, Rasmussen just came out, and he's like 4 points ahead of what Obama was at the same time he was in office at this time.
Yeah.
They just don't let up, do they?
And it appears they just don't want to learn. I actually kind of been, you know, watching some of the social media, and I stayed up all night and watched, you know, the president meet with North Korea's leader, and the way they report this, it's just the president can't win for losing. There's nothing he can do that will make him happy. And, you know, a majority of the coverage was, well, he's dealing with a dictator who kills people and treats his own people poorly. And I'm like, so does Saudi Arabia, most of the Middle East, a lot of Africa. We seem to have no problem dealing with those countries. So, you know, they're really reaching on this one. And I think that if you're an average American citizen and you watched what took place in Singapore, that you got a feeling that, again, when those 3 prisoners came home and were released from North Korea, you felt like, you know what, this is a good day for America. This is another one of those good days for America. Because why not talk to somebody and at least get peace out there? Administrations, both parties, none. And as you reported at the top of the hour, none of them have made any efforts to get any kind of concessions from the North Korean government. And this president's going to do that. And I think it just kills the establishment and it kills the mainstream media that they think they're right on all of this stuff and their policy and their way of negotiating is the best way. Yet Donald Trump has come into office, a political rookie, and he's taking over and he's actually getting things done. And he's doing it, and he's reaching out and talking to countries. We've talked about Iran over the last several months. This has got Iran completely spun up.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, you know, it's the Democrats. Well, you're not going to do this. Are they reading the script they used with Obama? No, wait a minute. They never mentioned that with Obama, did they?
Well, they didn't. And I was at a seminar yesterday at the Carnegie Endowment. It's an international peace study organization. And, you know, they actually had a fair and balanced panel. I mean, 2 thought they were, you know, that nothing was going to happen with North Korea. And the other 2 were cautiously optimistic about what was going to happen. The majority of them were, you know, Asian descent and lived in the region. And, you know, when it came to the U.S. side, you know, there was a question that came up and said, well, what do you think that Trump's going to do? I mean, what's Congress's role in this? How are they going to come in and control the situation? And, you know, the gal, she spoke and she said, well, you know, Congress is in charge of sanctions. Yeah, they are. And they do that. And Congress can come in and tell the president what he can't do with regard to sanctions and discussions. But the word never really came out that, you know, we need to focus on a treaty. And that's what was missing from the Iranian deal. And if the president is able to get a treaty.
Kimberly, going to take our break right now. Kimberly DeBrat, award-winning national security, border security investigative reporter, and the website is thekdreport.com. She's at CW6 News San Diego, One American News Network. She's at YouTube, and she's streaming at Periscope.com and Twitter, and she's everywhere. We'll be right back. When you really want Italian food, you've got to get Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Gas Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Speakers of luscious and appetizing gustatorial pursuits, indulge your fancies with steaks so absolutely yum-yum. Vegetarians have forsaken kale and pilates and never look back. Fish specialties so fresh and delicious and chosen by King Neptune himself, and relish Columbus Italian family specialties. So delectable you'll be yelling out, bravo, bravo. And let's not forget Columbus world famous meatballs, and you've got to try their breakfast pizza. Oh, and jazz every night. Service is friendly night morning and at a price that'll keep you coming back. That's Columbo's. That little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's. Manja.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane ticket, domestic or international, is to call Smart Fares. First or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane ticket. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and Smart Fares can save you up to 75% on your plane ticket. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call Smart Fares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644, 800-915-2644.
Hi, everyone. This is Fred Dwyer with some breaking news. My new movie, Highway 395, has just been released. Highway 395 is my latest movie and is now available for all of my friends and listeners to own. Highway 395 is a classic modern-day Western thriller. Action, romance, and the frontier spirit. It's all there in my new movie, Highway 395. Now, here's the best part. You can own this movie tonight by going to my brand new website, freddryer.co. Head to my website now at freddryer.co and check out the trailer. Then order the movie for a great night of entertainment. And while you're at freddryer.co, check out the memorabilia and my career highlights. But don't forget to order my new action thriller movie, Highway 395. So head over to freddryer.co. That's freddryer.co.
I'm Jay Farner from Quicken Loans. Choosing the right mortgage lender means choosing more than just a rate. Just calling the company with 12 JD Power Awards for client service matters. You're calling the company that invented Rocket Mortgage, the industry's most innovative technology matters. If working with America's #1 online lender matters to you, call Quicken Loans today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com. That's 800-QUICKEN. Equal housing lender, NMLS number 3030. Hello, I'd like to deposit this to checking. Hey, it's a fickle mess. The future is uncertain. Okay, and what's my account balance? The horizon is cloudy. I see looking treacherous boys. With great arrows. Look, can I just get a deposit slip or something?
A fortune bank teller. Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
I see a yellow light slipping and a low.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. Wilder, CRN, with my guest Kimberly Dvorak, and I want to tell you, listener, that you can also go to Facebook. He has the link there where you can catch all the interviews and her latest stories, things like that. Spell the you bring up the thing about think tanks, and of course, those on the left, and automatically, they're always spouting out so many lies. And I'm really thinking, Kimberly, that pretty soon, the Democrats and anybody on the left, they kind of say, wait a minute, you are kind of exaggerating on so many things. And here they are talking about, well, this is going to cost billions, all right? Well, we're not talking about the Iran deal under President Obama, which was not a treaty, it was just a piece of paper, and that cost billions.
Yeah.
According to your report, most of the cash for all this stuff is going to come from not America, right?
Yeah, it's going to come from Japan, as well as South Korea, who obviously have the most to gain from peace on the region there and on the peninsula. And of course, the Trump administration with the State Department and other diplomats have already been busy working out a deal to this effect for the last several months. It hasn't been publicized for obvious reasons, but they've worked out a deal. This is not going to cost the United States taxpayer the money. The expense in all this comes from finding the nuclear weapons, dismantling the program, and then you've got to take all of the different components and the biological chemicals and whatnot out of the country. And it's a lengthy and costly expense. When I was at the Carnegie Group, they were saying it was going to be like the 15-year region before they could completely clear out North Korea of all of its nuclear arsenal. Other people have said that's ludicrous, that you're looking at 18 months to 2 years for something like this. And I suspect that if the Trump administration is involved with it, they're going to try to do this as expeditiously as possible, which is exactly what the South Koreans have been saying. And since the 2018 or the Olympics earlier this year, they've been working to bring North Korea into the fold, unify the peninsula, get rid of the nuclear fear. And I would have to believe that after Kim left his country on a Chinese plane and headed to Singapore and stayed first class, and the island is like a 5-star island, and saw how the rest of the world actually lives, he's looking at it, you better believe he's looking at it saying, how can I get some money out of this? And if this is what it's going to take for me to travel around the world like a rock star and get all of this attention on TV, I just have to give up these nuclear weapons. Then you know what? I'm going to do that because it will better my life. And I think what he's doing is he's negotiating his retention of power. And I think in essence, that's what this will come down to. The Kim Jong-un regime wants to retain power, essentially for its entire life. But to join the world stage, they will give up the nuclear weapons.
And there was a slight scene there that where his future, flashed before his eyes when President Trump showed him that video.
Yeah.
Look, here's what it could look like. The hotels, the condos, the swimming pools, the golf course.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And on his interview, he's talking about, I'm into real estate. And I was thinking, wow, this does look good.
Yeah.
And they did. These naysayers. Schumer and Pelosi, I guess they think they're not going to make their, $4 million this year somehow or the other if they don't do this. But, he already destroyed that missile testing site. Yeah. He also stopped launching the rockets and threatening Guam and going over Japan and all this stuff. They just, Hillary didn't win, Kimberly.
Yeah.
They can't get over it.
No, and I think too that when I went to the seminar yesterday, I learned quite a bit about the region that I did not know too much, and it appears that President Trump is seeing that Russia is kind of re-engaging with China, and that's a pretty big block of two big countries to go against the United States. So his effort to kind of sandwich something in between that is to go and unify the North and South Korean peninsulas so they become America's ally. Now, this will completely tick off China because they don't want U.S. involvement in the region whatsoever. And so, it was kind of split. Half the people believe that, this is all planned out by China. They've got it all worked out. They're going to dupe the president, and he's going to withdraw all the troops, and they're going to think that there's going to be peace, and there's not going to be. And then they're going to go kind of swooping in, and China will completely rule that part of the world. On the other side, the others are saying, no, we don't think that is the way it's going to work out. We think it's quite the opposite, that this is what Trump is doing in his negotiating skills to make sure that the U.S. does stay involved in the region and does have a say as to what's going on, because you'll have a unified peninsula that will be, is a highly successful. You add that to North Korea, then you're going to have even more business that's going to be taking place behind the United States and North Korea. Potentially billions or trillions of dollars could exchange hands. And that's what the Trump's looking at. He's looking at the bigger picture, saying, look, there's money to be made. I want to make it. And I'm letting my businesses in America make that money.
And also for these naysayers, all of this is not going to happen and be cemented in concrete by the midterm election. Okay? No. It ain't going to happen that fast. The interesting thing, did you hear the interview? I think, Sean Hannity, I guess, had an interview with the president. And, he's the only thing that we're doing right now, the main thing, he says he's going to cut out these exercises that we've been conducting. And he brought up the how much those things cost, how much money it's costing American taxpayers, the B-52s. And he wouldn't even tell him what it is because it's so staggering.
Yeah. Well, I think this is, and this is one of the first questions that I asked my Pentagon contacts about, because, the media said, oh, well, they took the Pentagon by surprise. The president never discussed this with them. That's nothing further could be from the truth. I mean, the president has been talking with, members and leadership over the Pentagon for months on this. We just finished up with our war games, as the president wants to call it. Others will call it military exercises. The president likes to use war games. We've already finished that.
I got to tell you, Kimberly, that's been used ever since, the 40s, the 50s, war games. Well, I was doing it, in the 60s.
So it's nothing new. But in this part of the world, we just finished up. So we're not even scheduled to even have any further exercises or war games taking place until next year. So in essence, what difference does it make if the president says we're not going to do that anymore? Because we're not going to do that anymore this year. It's already done with. But the media is taking a look at this, and they're taking the first part of the sentence and saying, well, this is what the president said, and that's just not true. And they leave out the second part of the sentence where Mattis comes around and says, oh no, we've been talking about this with the president for quite some time, and we feel it's appropriate. There has to be give and take in relationships, especially as a high, national security precedent, as this issue represents for our country. You have to give and take. I don't think it's necessarily that big of a give to say, we won't do any more military exercises for the next year or so, which weren't going to happen anyway. So it's really a moot point. But the media is grasping at straws here, trying to find something to embarrass the president. And there's just not a lot out there on this.
Yeah, and, like he's just going to stumble in there, doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And in Kimberly's excellent report, all right, I'm going to take the time to read this, Kimberly, because I want you to listen to this, and especially, you on the other side and the fake news crowd. The mainstream media claiming that President Trump went to the Singapore summit unprepared was met with anger from Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who told reporters, now listen, before discussing the summit, I want to address a report to the New York Times that suggests that the U.S. team lacks the technical expertise in dismantling North Korea weapons program as part of all these talks. I want to address that report directly. For over 3 months, an interagency working with a group of over 100 experts across government has met multiple times per week to address technical, logistical issues associated with dismantling North Korea's weapons program. The same experts also covered North Korea's nuclear, chemical, biological, and missile program. They have all of these experts, and like Kimberly told you, they talked about it for months and months before he went in there. He didn't just hop on Air Force One and land and shake hands and say, hey, let's go have a
And it was even revealing in his interviews directly after the talks had ended, where he said, well, maybe I'll be here 6 months or a year from now and we'll have peace, or maybe it won't work out and I'll have to say, man, I was really wrong about this one. I mean, you have him stating that right after the fact. And that what that illustrates and what that shows the Kim Jong-un regime is that the president's open for this to fail. He's thinking in the back of his mind, this may not be working out. So if I think it goes to me when he makes statements like that, he's like kind of quietly like looking at the regime saying like, here's your chance to join the international community and be a part of the world and be able to travel around the world and rejoin society and, bear the fruits of the labor. People will not be starving in your country any longer. There'll be investment. There'll presumably be Trump hotels and all kinds of commerce. But don't think that for a second you're going to pull one over us, because I have no problem coming back here in 6 months or a year and saying, it's over. I made a mistake. I was wrong. And he put that out there very, very clearly right after the event.
Yeah, they just can't handle it. Robert De Niro, blowing his back. Here was MSNBC anchor Stephanie, is that Ruley? R-U-H-L-E? I have no idea.
Rural.
Saying, oh yeah, I use the F word when I'm in the shower, F Trump.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks a lot for that description.
Yeah.
And then this HBO host, Bill Maher, he's saying he's rooting for an economic recession to hit the United States soon because it would help get rid of President Donald Trump. Yeah. Can you believe this, Kimberly? Well, these guys, they get paid a lot of money.
What this tells, I think, the electorate and the voters is that the mainstream media, the Hollywood elites, still don't get it. They still don't understand why President Trump won the election and Hillary did not win. And if they carry on down this road, short of the president shooting someone in broad daylight, which I believe he mentioned during the campaign trail, he will be reelected in a landslide. The people are not going to vote against their pocketbooks. Oh, wait a minute, I'm getting more money in my pocketbook. Oh, I better vote against Trump. That darn tax cut's giving me too much money. That's not going to be, you're looking at Iran that's going to most likely have regime change within a year. You're looking at North Korea denuclearizing. You're looking at these things. These are all good things. And the president sometimes is, criticized for, winning too much, but he's going down his list of campaign promises and he's checking the boxes. And it's going to be pretty difficult for people, average people. The masses are the ones who vote. They're the ones who are going to look at this and say, the president, wow, he said he was going to do this. He did that. And you can already see the campaign ads with the Robert De Niro's and the Barbara Streisands and the Nancy Pelosi's making all of these comments. I can already see the campaign ads for this, and people are gonna watch that over and over and over again in November and in November of 2020 or 2019 when the election will take place. It's not a winning strategy for the Democrats. They've got to come up with something better, and this continuation is only going to ensure that the president gets reelected. And if he continues down this road, I mean, what's to stop him? Today, now we learned that that people have put him up for receiving the Nobel Peace Prize. He'll actually earn it if he gets peace on the Korean Peninsula. Yeah. So,
I'll tell you, that Nobel Peace Prize, I have no faith in it whatsoever. At one time it was a prestigious award, and I guess it still is in everybody's mind but mine. Because if you give it to a guy who never, ever had done anything except get elected president, I don't quite understand that. That's when they really lost it. And it wasn't, my bias against Obama. It was like, how in the hell do you give somebody the Nobel Peace Prize just because they got elected? Was it you had ESP and he was going to solve all the world's problems, or what?
Yeah.
I mean, do you get elected? Do you get a peace prize because you're the first black president or half black president or what? I just don't understand it.
Well,
and you know what?
It's not going to end well, because what President Obama is watching, he's watching his entire legacy go up in smoke. And you're seeing that the Iranian deal has been ripped up and thrown away. And you're seeing that they are repealing Dodd-Frank, and all of these achievements that the former president, thought he was going to, tack onto his legacy. He's losing those points day by day here.
And throw in one other thing here as we go into our final break. His unconstitutional health care bill. Unconstitutional, You can't throw a tax on somebody and make them, well, that's another story. All right, we're going to be right back. Kimberly Dvorak, KDReport.com, San Diego6.com, Periscope.com, YouTube. My goodness, where is she not? Well, I don't know. We'll be right back. And the number one best value in Hawaii, with a range of accommodations, affordable dining options, 50 ideal settings to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly art craft fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure Kukui lake ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool, indulge with the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Ka'anapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kbhmaui.com. That's kbhmaui.com. Over. It has been said that everyone has the book in them, but do you have the time or the ability to write your book? Maybe you picked up some skills or had a life experience that you want to pass on in the form of a book to help others. Maybe you want to leave an autobiography for your family, or maybe you've built a successful business and you want to share your story. At Dorrance Publishing Company, we have professional writers who can help turn your book idea into a finished manuscript quickly and affordably. A Dorrance ghostwriter can provide as much or as little help as you need to complete your book. You'll work directly with your ghostwriter to finish your book faster than you ever could on your own. It's easy to become a published author. Call Dorrance now to learn more. 800-485-8803. 800-485-8803. 800-485-8803. Call right now. That's 800-485-8803. Hey, Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and feeding in our restaurant.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family. The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com. CRN Wilder with my guest Kimberly Dvorak, D-V-O-R-A-K, and discussing her latest blustery trump to give peace a chance with North Korea. Hey, Kimberly, I'll let you go on with whatever you want to talk about, but I want to get into one thing here real quick, and that is, these North Koreans, from early birth, the only picture they can have hanging up in their, house other than maybe some kind of political poster is a picture, of the dictator.
Yeah.
And I mean, they are indoctrinated like this is the living God. And, and I'm thinking that the biggest problem
Yeah.
How,
Well,
how are these people all of a sudden going to say, wow, what do you mean we get to walk on the streets and don't get locked up? You know what I'm saying?
yeah. Well, the thing is, I think that the one of the representatives from South Korea made a pretty valid point about this, that Kim Jong Un couldn't even get on an airplane to get to Singapore. They had to borrow a plane from China with the Chinese flag on it. They had to have somebody, albeit the United States, pay for the hotel room. And she made the point that this was something that in their culture represented a humiliation and was something that would embarrass the great leader, that when he goes home, he's going to have to explain why he was on a Chinese plane and why he was staying at a free hotel room provided for, presumably by the United States. And that the humiliation that comes along with that, not paying your own way, that would be a sign to the people, and that was a sign to the South Koreans that Kim Jong-un was very serious about this opportunity. Because if he wasn't serious about the opportunity, he wouldn't go through this whole exercise and embarrass himself. And that was a very valid point that she made on this, and that's something that I included in the article as well, and that people need to remember. It's a very different culture. They're a very reserved culture, and he's going to go home and he's going to have to deal with the people, and they're going to say, well, maybe because he went through this process, that it's okay for us to start going on the internet and start realizing that we can join the world here and be a part of the world and global economies.
And her name was Park, right?
Yeah.
P-A-R-K?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a fellow here, but she's from South Korea. She's a fellow at the Woodrow Wilson Center here in Washington.
And the interesting thing, is that whenever they were talking back in Jong-un sat here, and I think he might have met, I think that President Trump took it like, we did have to talk a lot and you finally agreed to it. Mm-hmm. But I think he was talking about, I had to get the plane right, I had to get the hotel right, and all this stuff. And it is interesting. It was a Chinese plane, but it was built in America. That's getting the North Korean dictator here. So there's a lot of cooperation going on.
A lot of cooperation, but it just shows you also that China was in the loop with all of this. And anybody who thinks that the president didn't work with South Korea, Japan, or China are also mistaken. The United States has been working hand in hand with them, and they think that Trump had the best shot to open up North Korea. And it looks like talks are on the table for now.
Yeah, read this article, listener, because you'll see all fuel files, missiles, chemical, biological weapons. Yeah. They had all the experts looking at it before he went. Hey, thank you very much, Kimberly. Right. And the best place for them to read this story is... All right, lost her. That's okay. TheADReport.com. Also, Facebook